Last night, I received my first ever YouTube strike, and it was for violent and graphic content. I can't show you the clip in question because obviously if I did, they would just take it down and give me another strike, but I can summarize it for you. Imagine SpongeBob, Mickey Mouse, Scrat from Ice Age, and some purple bunny that I'm not familiar with, all ganging up on some unsuspecting Russian guy and beating him up in the middle of the road. It's horrifying. It's terrifying. Which is why it was in my Try Not to Laugh challenge video. Specifically, Try Not to Laugh number 2. If you go search for that video, it is no longer there. I am very sorry. This heinous video, which was clearly a danger to the unsuspecting population of YouTube, has finally been taken down. After 4 ungodly years of exposure on YouTube, it is finally gone. And the people can feel justice again. I mean, anyone who watches this clip would understand that it is not violent or shocking content, and anyone can make that call for themselves because you can still watch this video because it's still up on YouTube. If you search on YouTube for like Mickey Mouse Road Rage or SpongeBob Road Rage or Mickey Mouse SpongeBob Road Rage incident Russia caught on camera, you will find the video and you'll know exactly what we're talking about. And you can see for yourself how this video is not in any way actually violence. It's a joke, but not according to the manual review system. Who's making these calls? We don't know. Who's giving these answers? YouTube doesn't know. Who's talking to YouTube in YouTube that YouTube has to fight YouTube against or YouTube has to check YouTube with? Who knows? Now, I don't really care about the video itself getting taken down. I mean, I do, but, you know, I don't. What I do care about is YouTube's uneven application of their own rules. And I'm usually the first person to give them the benefit of the doubt. When they make like a controversial decision or they, you know, make a mistake, I usually try to understand that there are people behind the company. It's not just one big gestalt. It's a bunch of people all trying to do what is best for the platform and the creators. But in this case, it is actually the people behind the scenes that are making the mistake. For me, this all started last night when I was made aware of a tweet by Mr. Moist himself, saying that he had gotten a community strike, and he said to Team YouTube that it was unfair, which it was. YouTube replied that they were looking into it, and to no one's surprise, they upheld their decision, doubling down on the mistake. This especially wasn't a surprise to the Moist Man himself, because he made a video that he recorded before they even responded, calling that they would not reverse the decision.
In an act of desperation, I did what any sad Boy Scout would do. I tweeted at YouTube. I gave it a whirl to see what that would do, and they responded saying they look into it and thanks for my patience. And you know what? I don't expect the answer to change. In fact, I'm so confident it won't that I've already made this before they give me their final answer. And I imagine by the time I upload this, they will have already said on Twitter publicly that the video violates their policy and that I should review their terms of service or something similar to that effect.
That video is linked in the description if you want to check it out. I suggest you do because it gives a lot more context as to why this is all stupid in the first place. But where I get involved is when he made a follow-up tweet that had a screenshot from one of my videos, the Try Not to Laugh video, with the same clip that he got a strike for. And he asked, why didn't I get a strike? When is that one coming? And a lot of people were like, oh no, he's snitching on Mark. And that's literally not the case here. That's not what it's about. I've got nothing but respect for the good mythical Moist. But when it came down to it, I'm always ready to throw down when it comes to these issues. So I quote tweeted him, tagging Team YouTube and saying, fair is fair. When am I gonna get a strike? And to my actual surprise, I did get one, which was interesting. Interesting choice on their part. Now, because it's my first strike, I get off with a warning, which means that I can still upload and stuff. But the problem is there's clearly an issue with improper application or at least uneven application of YouTube's community guidelines. And moreover, there's a communication issue at the heart of it all. Now, I want to be very clear. I'm not against the rules themselves. Those rules are there for a reason, and there is content that falls within those rules that should be taken down, which is why they have manual review in the first place. But that also is its own issue. And to better understand that issue, I should put in perspective just how big YouTube actually is. Some of you may already know this, but it's something like, as of May of 2019, YouTube gets approximately 500 hours of video uploaded every single minute. If you thought I was going to say hour or day, you were dead wrong. Minute. That turns into 30,000 hours of content per hour. 720,000 hours per day, which is 82 years of content every day. And in that content is obviously going to be some pretty messed up shit, which is why YouTube has this community guidelines in the first place, and which is why we are all agreeing that that shit should be taken down. Anything that actually falls within the rules should be. But it's not. Critical explains this more in another video that I will link in the description, where he talks about literal animal abusers that have videos that are still up, or their channels are still up. And we can all agree that those types of videos, or anything equally horrendous, should be taken down immediately. No one's arguing that. But again, with the number problem, if YouTube were to have people manually checking every single video, every single day, assuming like 8 hours a day with no breaks in between, and they only have to watch the video once to make the right call, which is probably not the case, but we're assuming, they would need 90,000 people every single day, working 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And I highly doubt that they have 90,000 people working around the clock. It seems awfully unrealistic. But you know what they do have? They have tens of millions of people watching every single video on YouTube multiple times. They have you, all of you, all the millions of people that watch YouTube around the world, around the clock, constantly are there. And that's why they have the self-moderation system. That's why they have reporting. That's why they have all the different categories to report under. And when they get reports, enough of them on videos, then they manually review them. I think that's how it works. But what is the point of having a self-moderating community if they just don't listen? We are telling you that not only this video is not violent or graphic content, and it is clearly not, and everyone agrees that it's not, but we are also pointing out videos that do go against the community guidelines that are not being taken down. Even years later, they're not being taken down. By the way, the clip that I used is from the incredibly talented James Lee, who's also linked in the description. Just wonderful stuff. You should check him out. But they need to trust their creators and community more. You know what's funny about this is if they really had a problem with this clip, let's say, for example, this clip was actually bad, which it's not, but let's just say, for example, you know what they could have done to handle it? They could have reached out. They could have just talked to us. They could have asked us to take it down. I'd like to think that we have a good reputation. You know, if a channel is actually in good standing with no strikes, why can't they ask us to do it for them? Why not ask us to self-moderate? I don't know if you know this, but YouTube actually has a feature where you can go into any video that you've already uploaded, even if it's public, and you can go out and you can trim out sections of the video anytime. And you'll save it, and then like within a few hours, it'll reprocess it, and everyone will never see that part again. And many people won't even know that it was gone. So if you have someone in good standing, why not ask them to cut out the things that are a problem? If the whole video is not the issue, and it's only a small clip of them, why not talk to the creators? And if they don't do it, or if they don't make a good enough case for an appeal, then use your own tools that you have and do it for them. And then give them a strike. Do it then. You know what I mean? Be like, all right, you got to take care of this, or it's a problem, or we're going to give you a strike. And I can be like, look, it's not. I'll make my case. Here it is. Here's my case. And if I'm actually having communication with someone and someone comes back to me and is like, look, I get it, but we can't take the risk. In some circles, maybe someone might assume that it is, and they might get hurt or offended by it. And I'm like, all right, fine, I'll do it, you know? But at least the whole video isn't down. I'll just trim out that part, and they're like, okay, that's good. Thank you. That we reached a middle ground. Doesn't that sound great? Doesn't that sound wonderful? Communication? Talking? Yeah, and I get it. You know, retroactive application of rules has to happen. Rules change, and you know, videos are up on YouTube for years and years. And sometimes, you know, the community guidelines might change and you need to apply them on videos that were in the past that are not okay anymore. But if that is the case, Give people time to react. Give people time to adjust. Give people time to make the changes that need to be changed instead of just making it for them. You know, giving me a strike in what is basically retaliation for me reporting myself is just petty. That's all it is. It's petty. Who made that call? Who made that call? After I tweeted at Team YouTube, hey, fair is fair, instead of tweeting back at me like, look, you know, you're right, but we stand by this and we have to stick by it. If you could delete it, that'd be great. And then, you know, I would say, no, I'm not going to delete it. And then they would do it anyway. But at least there was a talk about it. At least there was communication about it. At least it seemed like there was another human that cared. And I want to be very clear. I want to be very, very, very clear. There are people at YouTube that do genuinely care. And my contact, Meg, has always been a champion for me. I actually have a contact at YouTube. My channel is big enough that they have deemed me worthy to have a person that talks to me. But Meg still has to fight. And the fact that she or anyone else at YouTube has to fight for me shows that there's a problem inside YouTube. Who are they fighting? Who's butting up against who? If the rules are even, why does there need to be a fight in the first place? That's because there's gray area. And that's where the community needs to be trusted. It all boils down to the only problem that YouTube has ever really had, which is communication and transparency. I don't know why they make the decisions that they do sometimes. And half the time, I don't even think they do. So what I'd like from YouTube, and we will need an answer to this, is number one, removal of the strikes and reinstatement of the video, because obviously this is not correct application of the guidelines. It just flat out isn't. Everyone can see that. Number two, action against the videos that are being called out. Like Critical has made many examples of videos that should be taken down or channels that are still up. Take action against them. And number three, communication about how this can be avoided in the future. Maybe take some of my suggestions to heart. Maybe trust your community a little more. These are not big asks. Well, the one is a mistake. The two is negligence. And three is just trust. It's got to happen. You know, I think that's all that people really want, is some trust. You know, I think creators just want to feel like they're a part of this YouTube thing and not just another cog in the advertising machine. Anyway, if you guys want to check out all the videos that I've talked about, they're linked in the description. The hashtag started by Critical is hashtag AnswerUsYouTube. So you can tweet at them with that. Anyway, that's all I got to say. I'll be waiting.